Rome, in the year 304 after Christ. A young girl of only 13 years of age walks through the stone streets of the empire's capital, her white dress flowing gently with the cold morning wind. Her name is Agnes, and in just a few hours, she will be subjected to one of the cruelest humiliations of the Roman punishment system. Her only crime? Refusing to marry the prefect's son and publicly professing her Christian faith. But this is not merely the story of a brutal execution. It is the narrative of how a young Christian girl defied the absolute power of Rome and paid the ultimate price for her courage. To understand Agnes's tragic fate, we must dive into the Roman world of the early 4th century. Rome was still the center of the civilized world, but deep cracks were beginning to appear in the empire's structure. Emperor Diocletian had initiated one of the most systematic persecutions against Christians, believing that the new religion was responsible for the evils plaguing the Roman state. Christian temples were destroyed, sacred books burned, and anyone who refused to sacrifice to the traditional gods faced imprisonment, torture, or death. In this environment of religious terror, Agnes grew up in a prosperous Christian family in Rome. Born around the year 291, she was the daughter of Roman nobles who had secretly converted to Christianity. Her family owned an elegant villa on the Via Nomentana, one of the most prestigious roads leading out of the capital. Agnes was educated in the finest Roman customs, but also in the teachings of Christ, a dangerous combination in times of persecution. From an early age, Agnes demonstrated an exceptional personality. While other girls her age dreamed of arranged marriages and expensive jewelry, she spent hours in prayer and meditation. Her parents noticed with growing concern that their daughter showed signs of intense religious devotion, far beyond what would be safe for a young woman from a noble family in Rome. Agnes's beauty was recognized throughout the city. Golden hair that shone under the Mediterranean sun, clear blue eyes that reflected a disturbing innocence, and a natural grace that attracted gazes wherever she went. While still very young, she had become one of the most desired maidens of the Roman aristocracy. Suitors from powerful families sent expensive gifts and made generous offers to her parents, hoping to secure her hand in marriage. Among the most persistent admirers was Sempronius, son of the prefect of Rome, an arrogant young man who was accustomed to getting everything he desired. When he first saw Agnes during a religious procession, he became instantly obsessed. Sempronius was not only interested in the young woman's beauty, but also in the political influence that a marriage with her family could bring. He immediately sent emissaries to Agnes's house with a formal marriage proposal. Agnes's response was categorical and shocking by the standards of the time. She completely refused the proposal. When questioned about her reasons, the young woman made a declaration that would seal her fate. "I already have a bridegroom," she said calmly. "My bridegroom is Christ, and to him I have dedicated my purity and my life." These words, spoken before witnesses, were not just a marriage refusal. They were a public confession of Christianity in the midst of Diocletian's persecution. Sempronius, publicly humiliated by the refusal, was furious. No young woman had ever dared to reject him, especially not for religious reasons he considered ridiculous. Running to his father, the prefect of Rome, he reported not only the refusal, but also Agnes's Christian confession. This was all the prefect needed to act within the powers Diocletian had given him. Prefect Sempronius immediately ordered Agnes's arrest. Roman soldiers surrounded the family villa on the Via Nomentana during the early morning hours. Agnes was found in her room, kneeling in prayer, completely calm before the arrival of the guards. Her parents tried to intervene, offering bribes and using their political influence, but it was too late. Their daughter's public confession had sealed the fate of the entire family. Agnes was brought to the prefect's tribunal the following morning. The hall was packed with curious onlookers who had heard about the noble young woman who had defied a marriage proposal for religious reasons. The prefect, a fat and cruel man, known for his brutality, observed the young woman with calculating eyes. He knew this case could serve as a perfect example to discourage other Christians of high social position. "You stand accused of Christianity and disrespect for the laws of the empire," declared the prefect in a solemn voice. "But because you are young and from a good family, I offer you one last chance. Renounce your Christian superstition, marry my son, and you will live in honor and wealth. Refuse, and you will face the consequences of your stubbornness." Agnes remained standing before the tribunal, her small hands clasped in front of her body, looking directly into the prefect's eyes. Her voice, when she finally spoke, was clear and firm. "I will never betray my true bridegroom. Christ is my life, and for him, I am willing to die." The silence that followed was broken only by the shocked murmur of the crowd. No one expected such determination from someone so young. The prefect, realizing that threats and promises would not work, decided to try breaking the young woman's resolve through extreme humiliation. "If you refuse to be an honored wife," he said with a cruel smile, "then you will be sent to the most degrading place in the city." He ordered that Agnes be taken to one of Rome's most infamous establishments, where she would be subjected to the greatest dishonor a noble young woman could face. This punishment was particularly cruel and calculated. For a young Roman woman from a noble family, honor and purity were considered more valuable than life itself. Being sent to such a place was not just humiliation, it was complete destruction of her social and spiritual identity. The prefect believed Agnes would prefer to renounce Christianity rather than face such a fate. But Agnes surprised everyone once again. When the guards prepared to execute the order, according to later accounts, her hair grew miraculously, covering her entire body like a natural mantle of protection. The soldiers, superstitious like most Romans, were disturbed by the phenomenon and hesitated to continue. Some began murmuring about signs from the gods, while others wondered if the young woman possessed supernatural powers. Even so, the prefect's orders were carried out. Agnes was led through the streets of Rome, but instead of showing shame or despair, she walked with her head held high, praying aloud.